Good morning. Good to be back with you again this morning from Portugal. I remember the world before the digital age, a time without internet, smartphones, Google Maps, email. It really was a different world. But now as I look at what I can do in a smartphone, the information I have, the maps, the music, emails, WhatsApp, Bible, calculator, camera, when I stop to think about it, what we have available now is so much better than what we had before. The impact of technology in the digital age has changed things forever. The digital age we live in now, it's not just an upgrade, it is a completely new way of doing things, a new way of living and existing, and it wouldn't make any sense to go back to what we had before. What we had before was a shadow of what we have now. The book of Hebrews was written to Christians who were experiencing tough times. They found it wasn't easy following Jesus. There was persecution, publicly exposed to insult. Their properties were seized. Some were even put in prison. Now many faced that reality with joyful confidence and trust in the Lord, but there were others who were openly struggling. Opposition and persecution wasn't what they signed up for, wasn't what they expected as followers of Jesus. And in that harsh reality, some were suggesting that being part of the new covenant, this newfangled religious movement of Jesus' followers, was not the way to go. They began to say, let's go back to the old days, let's go back to the old covenant, times were better then. But the writer of the book sets out to show systematically how superior the new covenant in Jesus is to the old way of doing things. The old ways, the temple sacrifices, the rules and rituals of all that they did in the old days are only a shadow of what is now available through Jesus and the new covenant. Old priests offer sacrifices day after day, year after year, only a temporary covering of sin because the blood of bulls and goats can never remove sins. Then Jesus came. He offered one sacrifice once and for all, his blood cleansing and purifying all sin, allowing his followers to boldly enter the presence of God and enjoy a new and living relationship as his children forever. The new way that came through Jesus redefines forever how humanity approaches and worships God. There is no shadow of a doubt, he writes, Jesus is superior, because in Jesus we now have instant access to God. He warns them in chapter 2 verse 1, we must pay careful attention therefore to what we have heard so that we do not drift away. Don't drift away, don't hanker back to the old way of doing things, he says. You may think that it will remove the opposition you now face in a world that does not know or see who Jesus is. But drifting back to the old way can never do for you what Jesus has done for you. Keep going, he urges them. Jesus will come back. What you are facing will pass away. But being a follower of Jesus is not just pie in the sky when you die. It's a real and actual help for us here and now. Hebrews 4:15 says this, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to feel sympathy for our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way just as we are, yet he did not sin. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Following Jesus means help for here and now, help for each and every moment of our journey, help that comes from the one who knows what we are facing. Jesus has sympathy for our weaknesses. Jesus understands temptation. And Jesus invites us to come today, this morning, to find mercy and grace in our time of need. It's not a matter of grinning and bearing it as we wait for Jesus to return. It's about looking to the one who walks with us, who goes before us into each moment to strengthen, to comfort, to sustain, to enable. And that is why we ought to be careful not to drift back, even in the toughest of times. I don't know what you're facing today, but I do know that Jesus is the answer for you. Keep going, keep pressing on, keep having that instant access to God to find grace and mercy for the moment in which you are actually living. And let's encourage one another not to drift away. Let's keep encouraging one another to spur on, to keep pressing on, to keep following. in the sure and certain knowledge that in Jesus we have found the better way, and in him we have grace and help for the moment, whatever that moment may bring.